Hey everyone, welcome to my channel. In this video, I'm going to draw this and give you a walkthrough of how you can do value studies on your sketchbooks to maximize your ability to make portraits and make them fast. I am no stranger to just drawing random references that I find good right off of Pinterest. Like everybody does that, but from time to time, you need to pick up references that you feel kind of an emotional connection with, like something that has taught you something that holds some sort of a meaning for you. So the idea to make this came along when I was working out. I was listening to this AMV, which was sort of a tribute to Thor, and it's titled as What More Can I Lose? Like, that's my thing, like listening to sad songs and sad AMVs while I'm working out, so sue me. So you get the idea, right? Like, draw something that holds some sort of a special meaning to you. Hell, even go to your gallery and sketch the drawing of the place that you visited last week. Like, just do something, especially when you feel unmotivated and you don't really feel like drawing. Pick out something that means something to you. Pick out anything. Like, it can be a screenshot from a movie scene that you like. That is definitely going to elevate your interest, and that boredom and the feeling of just like being unmotivated, you can just throw that shit out of the window. And when you're doing these studies in your sketchbook, just be playful and don't really take them that serious. Like, don't try to nail the realism down. Have a time constraint set up. Like, it can be maybe 2 hours, 3 hours where you have to nail down the essence of whatever you're drawing. Like, if I were to use the blending stump in a direction perpendicular to the way I've laid down my pencil strokes, what kind of results do I get? A big thing that I didn't really take into account before was the quality of the paper and the texture of the paper that I used to draw on. If you don't know what I'm talking about, then I really suggest that you look into it and just have a different set of papers and just draw the usual way that you draw and see that there will be a variation in the results you get. The kind of paper that you use gets a lot of say in the final artwork that you get out of the whole session. Even if you look at those Strathmore paper series, and they're going to have their names on the cover that they have, and they kind of dictate what sort of medium works best on them. So there's like a differentiation can be like Strathmore's smooth series can be used for like markers and pens and stuff, and if you're using the paper, I think it's pronounced vellum, and you can use charcoal and graphite, and that they say is pretty much optimized for like charcoal and graphite. Another great thing to like about these quick little sketchbook sessions is that you can quit it at this point. So it's sort of like as soon as you see the value shapes in their correct places, and that's obviously with reference to whatever you're making, and if you've laid it down perfectly, then you can just call it at this point. Also, just see that I have not really used the whole spectrum of the value range that I can use at this point, and so if you can see that 1 is the lightest and 9 is the darkest, and I'm somewhere along the line of like 3 to maybe 6 with the eyes darkened now, and it just goes to show that you don't really need to go in with the darkest darks. As long as your halftones are still conveying the form and just dictating where the shifts in those planes are taking place, then you're good. Also, don't put a lot of pressure when you're putting down the dark. So if you're using a 10B pencil, first of all, you need to build it up in layers. Like, you cannot just go in and jam that pencil in. So there are a few problems that you'll run into if you're using too much pressure. So first of all is that you have to understand that the paper that you're using has a tooth which kind of binds the graphite or the charcoal that you're using. So if you're just jamming your pencil in with all the force in the world, then you're setting yourself up for failure. because that's because you've already damaged the tooth of the paper. And if you need to take down values, or like let's say like if you need to take down the value from a 10 to, let's say, like a 9 or a 8, you cannot do that, because that kneadable eraser is not taking anything off, because that graphite or the charcoal that you've put down, it's literally binded to it. It's not like something that's just gonna come off with ease. So if you think that, okay, I can do this and like readjust the values later on, that is not happening. Like, get that idea out of your mind. The second big problem that I think is a big issue for every artist is that when you're using a 10B for your darkest darks, it just has that shiny layer on top of it. So if you were to face your drawing in the direction of the source of the light, it's literally going to shine. And also, the problem with graphite is that it's not that easy to take off later on. So if you need to put down some crazy white highlights and you're using a 10B pencil and you're using a lot of force, then it's not going to happen. So the solution to all of these problems is that you use a charcoal pencil for these areas. The ones that I use are by Generals, and the grading is 4B, so it is a charcoal pencil. And even if you put a little bit of pressure and you need to go from 9 to 10 dark, it will still come off using a kneadable eraser or a Tombow Mono Zero eraser. It also kind of works in your favor when you're drawing this small. Well, even if you're working on a larger drawing, you cannot really look at hair as individual strands. Almost always have to look at them as clumps of hair and value shapes instead of individual strands of hair. Like, that was a big thing. Like, there are multiple ways of looking at a single thing. So the same thing that I am looking at, you may look at it from a completely different perspective, and that just changes how you perceive it. And if I had to give you one thing that you should take away from this, is just learning and training your eyes to see things in a different way. Like, when I was just starting out, I used to just sometimes I would just get intimidated by the details, and sometimes as a beginner I was like, I'm going to make this the best drawing that I've ever made.
You know how long I've been waiting for this? Woo, I'm about to make a name for myself here.
And I think that every beginner can relate to this, where you've had a phase where you're all zoomed in and you're trying to capture every wrinkle that you see in the skin or every strand of hair, when instead you should be focusing on the bigger picture and squinting down your eyes and seeing the reference and seeing what kind of value shapes are present in the drawing and how much further away are that from a particular point, and just training your eyes to see things. That is going to show you the most results, and that is pretty much the fastest way to improve. So yeah, I think I would just call it at this point. I hope this video helped you out, and yeah, I'll see you in the next one.